Hi, and welcome to another episode of Friends of the Forest. My name is Dale Mangold, and this episode we will have a live in-person episode with Mr. Jeremy Caywood, and we're so excited to have Jeremy in the studio this week. And but before we get to talk to Jeremy, I want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button there and give us a thumbs up and all that kind of funky stuff that you need to do, so you'll be the first to know when new episodes of Friends of the Forest come out and other content that we have on the channel. And we'll have links in the description for all that stuff too. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right into it.
Your feet will walk, it's a maze.
Welcome back, everyone, Friends of the Forest, and it's really cool to have a good friend of mine in this episode, Mr. Jeremy Caywood. Jeremy, thank you for being on the show, man.
I am so glad to be here with you, Dale.
Oh, cool. Jeremy and I go
way
back.
Yeah.
And do we need to go in the Wayback Machine for this one?
We can go to Wayback. Do you got a Wayback Machine? Do we got to go like way back? Yeah.
Anyways, Jeremy and I have known each other over 10 years.
I would say over 10.
Say, yeah. And we met through a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Joe Pucciarelli.
Love Joe Pucciarelli.
And Jeremy used to be the original host and the creator, I believe, of Acoustic Brunch, which was a weekly Sunday open mic held at Ham Bones, the old Ham Bones in Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania, which is in the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we met, like I said, through our mutual friend Joe Pucciarelli, and sounds cliche, but the rest is history. We just became really great friends, and we've introduced each other to other people in our musical worlds and our personal worlds, and I'm so glad. But Jeremy, you just want to touch real quick on, like some of our background and stuff like that?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't even know how Joe and I met. I just remember Joe was like a piece of my life suddenly, and he says, "Here's my friend Dale." So going to what you were saying there about the Acoustic Brunch and how that all originated with us getting together, I don't even entirely remember how it all formulated, but it did. That relationship, that friendship. But if you want to go back,
yeah. How about telling us, where you're from and stuff like that?
I grew up Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I graduated Thomas Jefferson High School in 2007. I graduated Valparaiso University in the state of Indiana in 2011. And I moved back to Pittsburgh and was trying to figure out what my purpose was with music. I had studied music all through college and a lot in high school, had bands in high school. And where does that take me? What do I want to do with that? I think the only thing that made sense was finding open mics and finding like-minded people about music. And even if we played different styles of music, it was like, well, what do we do? Really cool individuals in Pittsburgh. This music scene is very special, very diverse, and has grown so much in the past 10 years.
And if I can elaborate on the diversity of the Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania music scene, here's me, and I'll use me as an example. I'm this rock and roller guy. Okay, more of my background is your Van Halens and your Kiss and your Springsteen and things like that. I'm a guitar player, but I'm mainly a saxophone player, as everyone knows. But meeting not only you, but it started with the open mic scene and Acoustic Brunch and everything like that. That a whole new world and chapter of my musical life was open, and just how if you let yourself knock those musical barriers down, I've then become a better person and a better musician, branching out into the singer-songwriter world, into the jazz world, into the blues and funk world.
I've watched you do it too.
Yeah.
I've watched you do that just in our time together as friends.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about this scene in Western Pennsylvania.
It's so exciting. There's so many different genres that all come together at one stage for one night, and maybe you only get one song or you get two, and we network together and we like each other. We get to know each other. We're friends now, mutual musicians in a small, big city.
Right. Yeah. Right. And
how can we grow from that? How can we expand that together?
Right. And it's also helped me with my recent Forrest Of FangHorn project and the album. I have various guest musicians and vocalists, and a lot of them I met through open mics, and this
all of them.
And,
it feels like all of them.
Western Pennsylvania scene. So yeah.
Yeah. I've worked with hip hop artists as a sound engineer. I've worked with country artists and all of this in Pittsburgh. A shout out to Mr. Smalls for that one, actually, because I ran sound there for so long. I've worked with a lot of folk artists, and to see the community we all cling to each other. It's like, okay, you're different from me stylistically, but we're very much the same. And
right.
I don't think people get that in life enough.
And there's the appreciation factor.
Yes.
Too, and the respect factor, at least musically, but cool. You mentioned, Mr. Smalls and some other artists and things like that. Just how about a little bit about your musical background?
Yeah. Well, I mean, after graduating from Valparaiso in 2011 and coming back to Pittsburgh, I found Cannon Coffee in Brookline, and this may only reach a few people on that one. Brookline, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, great little town in general. And this open mic, it was one song. You had 2 songs a night, but 1 song each half. So it was like an intermission.
Okay.
And it was not cutthroat. It was, but it was not cutthroat. It was just come and show us who you are.
Right.
And I got to be put behind the soundboard, got put in the position of hosting. I know you have experience with that. I mean, how many open mics have you worked with, and how many players you get to see? It's like,
oh yeah,
gosh.
And whether playing as part of a house band for an open mic.
Oh yeah,
or just being a musician and a guest,
or even just a coordinator.
Right. Yeah, and which after a while, to get back to Acoustic Brunch real quick, after you had to step down and handed the reins over to myself and Joe Pucciarelli, it was kind of like, okay, here's, we like coordinated everything, and you have to be an MC, a talk show host,
sound engineer, a performer.
Right. And that's how you get to know a lot of these people, because then you start to idle chat with them off to the side. And, well, hey, there's a open mic that, this guitar player might know in another part of the town. And, oh, hey, they, need horn players, so I might go
I was
there,
just going to say, that's another piece.
That,
It's like, hey, I know a musician that you would work really well with.
Right.
And they don't come here regularly. They've been here a couple times. They know of this space, but you come here all the time. I need to find a way to connect you to that person.
Right.
Because both of your abilities will mesh together so well.
Right. And Jeremy, and that, leading into our next segment, you've been able to reach out to so many people, including myself, because you're primarily a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
I'm primarily a horn player, but I dabble with some other instruments. But you've invited me to perform with you at regular concert shows, and whether it's just you and I as a duo, and I'm accompanying you on horn, or you might have a small combo band, and that is, comes straight from the genesis of you and I meeting at an open mic, and but to you and to your credit as an individual, bringing people together, and I'm so fortunate, and I thank you for expanding my musical world, not only in a music way, but I've made a lot of great friendships.
One point that ends up being heard, and it's a long drawn out. One of my favorite shows was at Double L. I got two from the same year, Double L and Cousins, where I was invited to perform, and I said, well, I'm going to bring some players with me. I call them players because they are players. They play their instruments and they know how to do it, and very talented individuals. Terry Exciting, Dale Mangold, Ian Green, Mike Speranzo, Steve Distelfink, Amy Drew Lasswell, Eddie Brown. I mean, I can go on and on and on, the amount of players that I've been able to incorporate into my small little town now that I live in, right, of Millville, and watch them just soak it in and get to perform, and everybody loves it. The people that don't play music that want to hear it. We would have a cookout out back of Cousins, and we're probably going to do more of those this summer if I can. I know Katie wants us to. Katie's the owner of Cousins Lounge in Millville. I know she wants us to, but try and curate those situations. Cookouts, fire pits, music, all sorts of different performers, and we're happy to do so. We're happy to be invited. We're happy to be a part of it. Another favorite show, live recording at Liveberg Studios. My live recording, you can find it on Bandcamp. Jeremy, what is it? Bandcamp, Jeremy-Caywood.bandcamp.com. I think is what the hashtag, or what the whole thing is. You can find that second live album we recorded at Liveberg Studios, which is up near Hartwood Acres, and that was cool. It was just me for the first few songs, and then I had some players come up, a drummer, David Dickinson on guitar, Dave Traw on bass. Chris Leia actually played drums. I think our drummer backed out last minute, and he filled in. Bruce Leibovitz, I think is how you say his name. Lebov. However, played violin. Sadie Friend sang some backup, but you can hear a lot of other musicians in the background because they wanted to be there for that event as well.
Yeah, nice.
And that was cool. My mom, it was my birthday. My mom brought a cake with my face on it.
Oh, no.
So awkward. It was so awkward. Who brings a cake with a person's face on it?
Right.
My mother. My mother did that, yeah.
Nice.
No, it was cool. I love you, Mom.
Well, let's talk about one of those songs in particular, which you will have Jeremy perform live in the studio a little later on in the episode.
Yep.
But that's called One Day They'll Raise. How about telling us a little bit about that song?
That was one of those songs that kind of came out of nowhere. I had a lot of death around me. They always say that happens in threes. I think it might have been the third one. And, it wasn't like a person that was super close to me, that third one. But it was enough to make me acknowledge how fragile every step of life is. And how important intention is. And everybody's intention is different. That person's might be just to make sure that they get food on the table for their children. And this person's might be, I'm so behind on rent, if I can give them $100, I'm going to make it. And this next person might be, I have to feed 150 mouths today. How am I going to do that with the food that I've been given? The food that I purchased, how am I going to be able to make this enough for someone else? And I think a lot of that comes down to finding enough in yourself. I I pray that I find enough in myself to give to other people every day. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of times that I am giving and I don't even realize I am. And I think that patience builds a stronger person. So what your goal doesn't have to be there. I think what really is there is a beating heart and a value for sharing that.
Where can people find this song, and not only
Sure.
this song but other songs, which we will link all of this. We'll have links down in our description where you can find Jeremy's music. But where is it on an album? Is it on, or is it just was it cut as a single, etc.?
No single. It's on Bandcamp, jeremy-caywood.bandcamp.com. You can find it on don't go to Sound. Well, you can go to SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Jeremy Caywood. And you can also go to Spotify and search my name, Jeremy Caywood, Caywood. The song's called One Day They'll Raise. And, it's remembering how people will remember you. And providing a self for yourself to be proud of, to leave behind.
Well, when we come back, we'll have Jeremy perform this song live for you. So we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Jeremy Caywood performing live acoustically, One Day They'll Raise.
There's two ways to look at everything. A flower grows, a flower's dying. One point that ends up being heard, and it's long drawn out. Is it rain that is pouring on your head? I guess no sunshine is coming then. One path we find our feet will walk, it's a maze. Lady, a maze. 'Cause one day they'll put you in the ground. Yeah, one day they'll send you off with a sound. One day they'll raise you up. Yeah, one day they'll raise you up. One day to raise you up. Like a bird that is feeding on the ground, are the words you're eating now. Put them out in the sun to grow and pick the dead. ways to look at everything. And one point that ends up being heard.
All right, welcome back, Jeremy. That was a phenomenal performance. Thank you so much for performing live in the studio. And I'm getting all mushy here, because this is a new show, relatively new show. It's probably about when this will air, it'll be probably like the 14th or 15th, 16th episode.
Cool.
But like the first 10 were strictly Forrest Of FangHorn stuff. So,
right.
As we're like spreading out, but you were the first to perform live here in the studio.
Cool.
Singing a song. Not the first live interview in the forest here at our home base, but the first live
well, thank you.
Performance. And
thank you so much for I got them too, man.
Yeah.
I got them too, all over the body. Thank you so much for including me.
Well, once again, I'd like to thank you, Jeremy, for being our guest this week and for being my friend all these years. And Friends of the Forest episodes air every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for anyone who's been watching our episodes, you kind of know what we're doing here. But for you brand new fans and subscribers, Friends of the Forest is a weekly talk show that I have, and we interview artists, bands, and entertainers from all over the world, actually. If you want to be a guest on the show for a future episode, email us at forrestoffangHornpgh@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you. It's very easy. We do everything electronically. It's real simple. And but if you happen to be in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, let us know, and we can arrange, just like we did here with Jeremy today, to record your episode live here in the studio. So once again, hit that subscribe button, give a thumbs up, comment, let us know what you like and what we can do better. If you have any bands or artists or entertainers that you'd like us to see, put them in those comments there, okay? Once again, Jeremy, thank you so much, my friend.
Dale, thank you.
And
I do have one more thing to say.
Yes, sure.
I would really appreciate, and I think you will too, anybody listening and shares this with anyone, and I know Dale supports this as well. Make sure you go out and spread your love. I know it's not always easy. This is a hard world to live in. We go through difficult times.
Yes.
And we need friends.
Yes, and music brings people together.
Music brings us together.
My name is Dale Mangold. I'm your host. This is Friends of the Forest. We'll see you next week. Peace and love, everybody.